Yes, people, welcome to Crime Daily. A drugs gang that flooded the streets of Wigan with heroin and crack cocaine have been jailed for almost 40 years. The operation, which led to estimated sales exceeding 800,000, was spearheaded by Jake Muldoon, 23, also known as Scouse Joe, and Adam Jarrett, 29, using the alias Biggie. 4 other men from Lee and Atherton, Jamie Ashcroft, Declan Prescott, Nathan Rutter and Reece Jones were also involved in the County Lines conspiracy between August 2018 and February 2020. A 2-day hearing at Bolton Crown Court heard that Jarrett frequently travelled to Atherton from Liverpool and used houses in the area for the storage, preparation, distribution of large quantities of Class A drugs in a method known as cuckooing. One of the homes used belonged to Ashcroft's mum, Mary Ledwith. Greater Manchester Police's Wigan Challenger team executed a warrant on Bridges Street, Atherton on November 1st, 2018. Jarrett and Jones, 22, were arrested and heroin, drugs production equipment, shotgun ammunition and £4,000 in cash was recovered, among other significant items. Phones recovered from that raid enabled officers to link Ashcroft, 21, Prescott, 24 and Rutter, 21 to the conspiracy. The trio were understood to be stealing vehicles for the purpose of the organised crime group's illicit activities. Ashcroft, Prescott and Rutter were all arrested and found to be in possession of Class A drugs. Prescott was stopped by police while in a stolen vehicle. On the first occasion, he made off, reaching speeds of 80 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour zone and rammed a police car. After his arrest on another occasion, he made threats to chop up the 2 officers arresting him with two large machetes that were in the car at the time of his arrest. Prescott was later stabbed repeatedly in the head by Muldoon after he lost £5,000 worth of drugs. Following a police chase, Rutter was arrested and was found to have a machete, a taser, a knife and CS spray. It was when police arrested Ashcroft in January 2020 that they discovered he was paying his mum, Ledwith, 39, £50 per day to store drugs at her home. Despite being remanded in custody, Muldoon continued to run the business from a mobile phone he had within his cell in prison, directing Ashcroft in the supply and distribution of the drugs. All 7 of the group were charged with various drugs, driving and violent offences. Muldoon of Norris Green, Liverpool, is already serving a 9-year sentence for stabbing Prescott and has now been sentenced to a further 6.5 years for admitting to conspiracy to supply drugs. Ashcroft of Lee has been sentenced to 6 years after being found guilty of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. Prescott from Atherton has been sentenced to 2 years and 9 months after admitting conspiracy to supply Class A drugs and dangerous driving. He was also sentenced to a further 4 years for 2 unrelated offences of robbery, taking his sentence to 6 years and 9 months. Rutter of Lee has been sentenced to 5 years after admitting conspiracy to supply Class A drugs, possession of a prohibited weapon and dangerous driving. Jones of Lee has been sentenced to 3.5 years after admitting conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. Ledwith of Lee has been sentenced to a community order after allowing her premises to be used for the supply of Class A controlled drugs. Jarrett of Liverpool will be sentenced on February the 9th, 2020 after admitting conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. That's all for another one, people. Don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe, yeah? Peace.